Hello friends, welcome back to Value Vintage Cards. This is just a quick little video today. I'm going to try and just feature really it's one vintage and a couple of modern cards. Um, but I want to just kind of share a little bit of thoughts on the modern and vintage. And I say this all the time. I absolutely love modern collectors who appreciate learning about the history. And I think as much as all the crazy purple refractor stuff just confuses the heck out of me. When you get into sustaining the hobby for the next 100 years, really beyond all of us, um, I think what they're doing is actually pretty clever and very important. So I know for myself growing up, there were some tools, some sets, some sometimes inserts even that we didn't really think about, but it was a great way to introduce some of these older players. So I'm going to share a couple of modern cards and one that definitely qualifies as vintage, and see what you all think. Curious your thoughts on the topic. So turn around and we'll get this thing going. All right, folks, let's dive in real quick to Sam Crawford, and I'm going to sort of navigate this as why I appreciate some few recent more modern cards. So buddy Jason's been sharing some modern stuff on his channel, and a lot of it is definitely outside the scope of where I have any form of knowledge base. And I think everyone that's gone with the modern versus vintage debate, it's very true. You're spending all your time investing, diving in, learning about like regional issues and variations, and type 1, 2, 3, 4 of Gaudy wide pen issues and all this crazy stuff. You can't figure out what a rainbow unicorn kitty pearl whatever issue is. Like, all that stuff is way too complicated. These things are what is this, 3 of 10, and I mean, at least this, I guess you could say, there's the scarcity of, you actually have to cut up Sam Crawford's bat. So I suppose there is some scarcity in having Sam Crawford bats. So hopefully that's a more accurate, limitation. But a lot of these, it's it's 1 of 3. Why? Because they decided to only make 3. Like, that's they could have printed it more last year. They didn't have to stop. So it's artificial scarcity. This one is similar. I don't know why I still have the sticker on the back. My bad. It's 4 out of 15. I do like these for a few reasons. One, you do get a little bit of a unique way of collecting a player like this. You get these really cool write-ups on the backs. They talk about the fact he had over 300 career triples. Sam Crawford was an elite slugger. I really don't have a whole lot, and really it's because his career, I mean, he started in 1899, so he was cutting off before, I mean, I guess technically barely overlapped with Babe Ruth, but he never really did hit the the home run live ball boom in baseball. So back in that day, if you were hitting triples, that means you really beat the heck out of the ball and were able to run around the bases almost all the way. So obviously you hit it further than most. So triples really were a sign of being a slugger. These, and kind of getting into that modern and historical, I say this all the time, we need modern collectors. That's where everyone's going to start. Everyone's going to start and go out and try and get the player they see on TV. Very few people are going to be born and be like, what is Mickey Mantle about? I need to learn about him. You're going to be born and turn on TV and see your local team and say, I want to go out and have a representation of that person in my collection. I love things like this because this will be opened in a pack, and the fact it is like an insert and has a little more a few dollar value instead of a zero. Someone's going to pull that out of a pack and say, huh, who's this guy? And if we want vintage to sustain, grow, and attract teenagers and 20 somethings, I was buying vintage when I was like 10. because I enjoyed the history. And I think this is, in a much more intense world where you can pick what you're doing. You don't really get board time. You can always find a video online and entertain yourself. I think when you're able to get in front of folks and introduce players that they wouldn't have heard of otherwise, Sam Crawford's pretty under the radar. He had 97 career home runs. Um, he's not showing up in record book except for triples. And I don't know, most years you don't know who leads the league in triples because it's not a big, sexy stat these days. It's home runs and that's about it. But those led me to another recent pickup. And I think that thing is super cool. That I was able to add. I was kind of tracking it, and I definitely didn't slide by for $20, but I think it went for at least a couple tiers lower kind of price. It was very fair. I'll never brag about the extreme deal I got with this one, but I will brag about the extreme awesome image. I've been sharing a lot lately, and I'm just saying, I really want to focus on real images, anything like pre-war, oversized. If I'm a good pusher, I got to be, looking at these things. Cracks me up that nickname is stuck. I'm embracing it to the fullest. Pre-war pusher is just hilarious and fun, and can't encourage folks to check this out anymore. These are pretty tough. That's a tough set. So the 1907 issue. I've only got a couple in that set, I think. I've got the Mordecai Brown, of course. I had to get that one. And his is phenomenal. I think that's his best piece. There is a Cobb, which is, grail worthy for most collectors if you're into that type of labeling. We'll call it a gold card because maybe it's not your grail. But these Deech, I guess is fair enough pronunciation. These issues are not something you're going to see always available. So when you see it, you got to decide, is this the time to add it, or do I have to wait a couple more years? There we go. A little glary, but finally got it. Look at that cool write-up, though. Sam Crawford. Talk about the closest thing you get to a real card back in that era in terms of what we think of when we flip it over and check out the stats. At least you do get a little bit of a write-up on that. So for 1907, phenomenal. I just wanted to zoom in and appreciate what this has for an image and share some Sam Crawford love and show some appreciation for modern collectors that are, it's your gateway. Start off with those and you end up with that. And that's our hope for, today's 12-year-old that's living in Detroit and excited to open up a pack and see a Detroit player from way back in the day and decides to read the back and learn a little bit more. And in a few years when they have a little extra resource, pack some of them right now, they can go out and grab a 1907 postcard like that. So that's what I got for you today. We will catch up next time. Have a good one. Take care.